Hello everyone, I'm Safia from Magic Light Artista. This is my Calligraphy for Beginners tutorial series and I'll be doing the alphabet in uppercase and lowercase. So far we have done up to J in lowercase. We have done 10 styles from each letter. I have been getting requests asking to speed up the process of the alphabet because people are very inquisitive to learn the alphabet very fast. So I thought I'll do 4 letters at a time, and as usual I'll be using a pointed pen for this and our Crayola markers. We started off with Crayola markers and we will be continuing with Crayola markers because that is the cheapest option you can find as a substitute for a calligraphy pen. So if you don't have Crayola markers, still you can do calligraphy. All you have to do is follow my tutorial for calligraphy with any pen in the link above and you can do calligraphy in no time. So I'll be using the Crayola Super Tips for this and a Nikko G nib with a oblique holder, so it allows me to get the angles. So the Nikko G nib, this is one of the most beginner friendly nib out there in the market. It allows you to control the thickness of the lines. Today we'll be learning K, L, M and N. So before we begin, if you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notifications so you will be the first one to know when I upload a new video. Let's begin with the basic K. So for the basic K, I'll be doing an ascending loop and then a small oval with a half underturn. So you can see I did a small oval instead of a big oval. So this is something which varies from the basic strokes. It's just the size difference. The strokes are the same. So the second style would be the same K, but I won't be having an ascending loop. Instead, I'll be drawing a straight line without a loop. Third style, I'm going to start the ascending loop with a small extension. And instead of starting from the middle, the next part of the letter, I'm going to start it where I stop the ascender. So I start from there and go up and ascending loop and then a half of the underturn. So it's a small ascending loop I did there in the lower part of the K and then I extended it into a underturn. So for the fourth style, the same thing I'll be doing, but instead of turning the extension up like in the third style, in this I'll be turning the extension of the ascending loop down. So you can see the difference. So for the fifth style, I did a straight line, a downstroke, and then I draw the K in a small loop. So I come down like this and then do a small loop there and extend it a little bit further below the baseline. So for the sixth style, we'll do an ascending looped K, but instead of the small oval we did earlier, we do a straight line and the underturn. So this is also one of the basic Ks. So instead of the oval here, I do a small line and then I do the underturn. For the seventh style, let's do a loop and then I do an upstroke there from where I ended the loop, and from the middle of the upstroke I'm extending the downstroke to end the K. So this is the 8th style. We do a small swirl at the top of the ascender, and then we do small swirls at the end of the lower part of our K. So for the 9th style, let's do a small flourish. So the lower part of this I did with one stroke, and then I add a flourish to the beginning of the ascender. I don't think I have space to do the letter here, so maybe I can do it on this side. So I'll do this like this, the ascender, and then I continue into a loop, and then I do the flourish at the beginning of the ascender. So for the 10th style, we'll be doing another flourish with the basic K we did with an extender at the end, and I add a small part to the beginning of the letter as well. So I extend the end of the K and end it with a small swirl. I extend the loop and do a small flourish. We have completed all 10 styles from lowercase k. So let's start with L. So the basic L, you do it with an ascending loop. So you just do an ascending loop and then extend it to the waistline. So for the second style, I'm going to do a bigger loop. The style we did a very small thin loop, but in the second style I'm making the loop a bit bigger in the L. And then the third style would be the extended downturn L, and then the fourth style would be the extended upturned L. Fifth style, a straight L without a loop. Sixth one would be with a swirl at the beginning of the L. So the seventh one, I extend the loop a little bit further and bring it over. For the eighth style, let's do a big swirl at the beginning of the letter. So I start in the middle, almost at the waistline, and then I go up and come down and do a small underturn at the end. So there was a small error, the gap was too close in the first one, so I did another one. So you can see a proper one with the pointed pen. Start in the middle and then you go up and come down with a thick stroke and end it at the waistline. So the ninth style, let's do a small flourish similar to the flourish we did in K. So I go like this in a horizontal oval and end it with a small curl at the end. I do my ascending loop. And then I add the flourish to the beginning of the letter in a horizontal oval and then end it. The 10th style would be another flourish. For this, I come down and do a small loop in the middle of the ascending loop, and then I go further away and end it with a swirl. So we have completed all 10 styles in lowercase l. So K and L are done. So let's move on to M. So let's use pink for this. A basic M is consisted with an upstroke, a downstroke, overturn, and a compound curve. With the compound curve, we give the connector to the next letter. So for the second style, I'll be doing an overturn instead of the upstroke and downstroke. So I do 2 overturns and then I end it with the compound curve. So it's overturn, overturn, and then the compound curve. For the third style, let's do a compound curve which will continue on till the end of the M. So I start with the compound curve and then I do another compound curve and then I do another compound curve to create the M. So for the fourth style, we do an upstroke, an overturn, and another upstroke. So in the first one we did upstroke, overturn, and compound curve. This one we're doing upstroke, downstroke, overturn, overturn, and upstroke. In the fifth style, we're going to make the letter bigger as we go, so small to big. So I start small with a small downstroke and then I do a medium size overturn, and then the compound curve would be a bigger one compared to the other 2 strokes. So I start small, do a small overturn and a bigger compound curve. So as the sixth style, I'll do a squiggly or a continuing compound curve, but it'll be from big to small. So I'll start big with an underturn and then compound curve and then another compound curve, but it'll be smaller towards the end. Then I do a small flourished M. It's a very basic flourish. In the beginning of the letter, I do a bigger oval and then I do the normal M. Now it would be the 8th style. We start with a big swirl and then we move on to loops till the end. So we do a big swirl and then do a loop and do a overturn and then another loop and then a compound curve. So you can continue into a loop instead of the compound curve at the end. 9th one, I do a big upstroke and a downstroke and then the overturn is a bit smaller, and then the compound curve I do it in an overturn manner and then extend it to a small flourish at the end. So the 10th one, I'm going to do a flourish at the beginning again. So I do a bigger downstroke and then do a overturn and then a compound curve, and then I do the flourish in the beginning. So I do a squiggly M and add the flourish to the beginning of the M. So we have completed all 10 styles of our M, lowercase m. So let's move on to lowercase n. So the first style of lowercase n would be the basic one with an upstroke, downstroke, and a compound curve. So you do a simple upstroke and then a downstroke and then a compound curve for the basic n. And then for the second style, we do an overturn and then a compound curve. So instead of the upstroke and the downstroke, we do an overturn. Third style, I do upstroke, downstroke, overturn, and upstroke again. So for the fourth style, we do a small downstroke and then do a compound curve, starting big and then ending small. So this is a combination of big and small strokes again. So for the fifth style, we'll do an overturn and then another overturn, but this overturn we bend it a little bit inwards, so it gives more of a circular N. And then the next one would be a small overturn and then a bigger compound curve. For the seventh style, we do a loop and then do a compound curve connected to that. So we extend the loop to a compound curve. And then for the eighth style, do a normal N, that would be the basic downstroke, and then the compound curve, instead of doing it in the same baseline, I bring it down towards the descending line and turn it up. So for the ninth one, we do a big swirl at the beginning of the N and then do the compound curve. So for the final style or the 10th style, we're going to do a flourish. We start with a big downstroke and then do the N and then end the N with a small flourish, and then I complete the flourishing N by adding a flourish to the beginning of the N as well. So sometimes you get these railroad tracks when you're doing with the pointed pen. That's when your ink runs out, so you can just color it off later on. So we have completed all 10 styles from lowercase n. So altogether we have completed lowercase k, l, m and n. So next would be our word of the day. So we have 4 words today. So let's begin. We have completed our words of the day. So we learned 40 letters today and 4 words. Isn't it amazing to learn a lot of letters together? So you can finish up the alphabet soon. So don't forget, I have a practice sheet for every letter in the description below. And also, if you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell notifications so you'll know when I upload a video as soon as I do. Bye bye.